Scran, which is a British slang for food. And I thought they just had the one food challenge here called the Scran Slam Challenge, but I'm mistaken. Salutations, I am here for the Scran Slam Challenge.
Scran Slam's the easy one.
Alright.
The
There are two. That's more of a speed eating challenge. I think you get 30 minutes for that one, and then like a leaderboard of fastest times. But they have an even bigger one called the If You're Hard Enough Challenge. So naturally, I'm gonna have to do that one. Just look massive. You just finished one? Yeah. Interesting, because just a side fact, those so you try it yourself?
Yeah, and this is my attempt. I thought we'll try and just see what it's like.
Table,
And I thought myself I had a respectable effort. I ate a good amount of sausage, bacon, and a lot. It looks like I've not touched it.
that's a lot. Usually 15 sausages a day.
That's not a lot.
You know what?
But we always thought if anyone can do it, you can.
Yeah.
We're so lucky here to give it a go.
Alright, do my best. Alright. Do what little. Alright, what do you want to brought the menu in? Can I order one If You're Hard Enough challenge, please? Sort of like a weird undertone, isn't it? If you're hard enough.
Read into it what you will.
I'm 40 now, so I need proof for that.
Is this just for TikTok and Facebook then?
TikTok? Oh, my soul. No. Just YouTube. YouTube. Let's get a little B-roll in the kitchen there, and I can confirm it is ginormous. I don't think I've ever done a breakfast challenge with 15 sausages on it. Oh, thank you very much. Cheers, man. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Let's fill it up now. No hiding. No hiding now.
Good luck with that.
Thanks very much. Save the bread to last. That's the trick? Alright.
That's right.
Jolly box. 30 points. Yeah. My mama can pull it on it. Alright, today our place called Scran in Rotherham, and I'm taking on the If You're Hard Enough Challenge, which is a flipping humongous Fulham's breakfast challenge. How long do you get to do this? You know what, I thought it was like 20 minutes or something. I was going to get up and like walk out. So it's 40 quid, but if you can do it in one sitting with no need to the bathroom, you get it for free. And nobody's finished it yet, no? Yeah, the one from TikTok who cooks bacon on a radiator. She tried it, how far did she get?
I get very fast, so that's that. God bless you for trying. It's done ready.
Not really, but I'm going to give my best shot.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, by Jove, we're going to need it. So what's up, episode? Today we're in Rotherham, which is in the county of South Yorkshire, back in England. Is that a technique point for the ladies who left the thing there? Well, like today we're doing battle with a veritable behemoth of a breakfast called the Are You Hard Enough Challenge. The eggs took long enough. What makes sausages? Oh man, he's still good. Indeed, probably why they felt so unfamiliar to the touch. And there are 15 of these things here. 15! Not your average greasy spoon sausage either. Apparently a bespoke, curated banger from a local butcher, meaning thankfully it had a very unique and pleasant herby flavour, but it would also linger than your average lemon. A bit tricky to get down the hatch. Plenty of spectators today too, as you can see. but thank you.
Yeah, hard to tell at this point. Although, I suppose I have cleared, what, about 28 items in less than 5 minutes? So that's reasonably expeditious pace. Still, plenty hidden under that bread.
Bacon salmon. You reckon? Yeah? You make me second guess myself now. Just revealed the black pudding there. Forgot about that. The things that look black pudding, they don't have to do hash browns.
Yeah, you gotta say the black pudding as a bit of a midway incentive, especially since there's no fried bread on this one. Not that it needs to be any bigger, just a bit of a soft one for fried bread, you know.
You enjoying your regular size breakfast then? It does look pretty good. Black pudding?
It might be a little early. Also, I don't know who came up with a seemingly arbitrary number. Look, it's like 15 sausage, 15 eggs, 15 bacon, 10 hash browns, but only 6 black pudding. Must be the premium stuff. I looked at these things. Plenty of time for it.
Could take a lot of food. Temporarily on the fluid. How well? What are we doing? That is Academy Award winning. Could I get a little bottle of water if that's all right? Thank you very much. Maybe two. Thank you very much. Long way to go. There's so much bacon in there. Feels so bad. They were playing the dog when I got here. My bill just means 8. Yeah, maybe that. Almost feel like I need more beans and bacon. Don't get any ideas though. I think we have a critical omelette.
Yeah, who could? Goodness me. I mean, I would imagine watching me from close range is far from pleasant, but I'm not sure it's enough to make your eyes burn. Maybe we should just go. It is the time of year after all.
Oh, man, you're gonna beat me. That's it, you beat me. Nice to meet you all. Thank you. Sending the wife home while you stay and watch. You're gonna be in the doghouse later. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I've got it down to a fine, if not entirely flawless science at this point. After all these years, also helps that there's no stealing time with it.
The sausage was. What she said? What she said? The way you polished that plate up there, I think you could have given this a go. There's maybe one bean left on it. I see one bean. Is there two? You're honest. Right. What do you think? This is the. Actually, the reason I'm eating the mushrooms is I hate them. It's like it's one of the only foods that I don't actually like. That and Brussels sprouts. Diet Coke. Can I get Diet Coke, please? No, just a can of Farmer. Watching my figure either. Don't laugh, that's insane. But you know. Thanks, mate. cheerleaders are gone now. Oh yeah? She drew the short straw then, yeah? Bye.
That sounded unintentionally sarcastic. Of course, that was not my objective. Looking like the unimpeachable charm provided by a disenchanted senior citizen. Maybe she'll be back. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Pretty much just the mushrooms to go.
I thought you should be back. Oh, here we go. The dramatic music has entered the edit. Come on, let's pick it up, son.
Alright.
See the remnants of that triple food. Smashed it. Absolutely smashed it.
Sorry, man. Most things will work.
Yeah, not the first time I've said that, and I'm all but certain it won't be the last. Once, of course, I'm Gary, which at this point doesn't feel all that unlikely. Look at this guy. Look at his face. What is that? Horror? Concern? Hard to tell. We got a late comer to proceedings. God knows what she's thinking. Probably wondering what all the fuss about with only a few mouthfuls to go. After 30 minutes meeting though, let me tell you, everyone is a slog. I think the group of diners on the far side of the restaurant are still sort of enjoying the show. If you didn't catch it earlier, the two ladies were quite confident that the dude there with Andy, I think he was called, could finish this thing. So Andy, if you're watching, let me know how long the ambulance took to arrive. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.
I'm really sorry to see that. Alright. This is Billy's food. And obviously, if you're and what's that? Yeah, push me the legs in this time. Yeah, first one.
Smashed it.
I think I'll be the real sausages for one day. Do you know what it is? This is the best one. Oh, favourite. Moment of truth. Oh, look at that. That's pretty clean. Oh.
This stuff cheesecakes with fry. Oh, and it's pretty good.
Vast majority of our revenue comes directly from our audience through sales of our products or from watching our content, either on YouTube or over on Floatplane, where our incredible float goats subscribe for extra content, early access, and perks. The rest of it comes indirectly from our audience in the form of sponsorships and affiliate links. And that's why when we make a decision, you are our guy. We are laser focused on serving our audience with the products we develop and the content we create. Which is why it's time, finally, to have the talk. What happens to money? How does Linus Media Group spend money? How much of it does Linus spend? I'm going to tell you all of it. But first, I'm going to need to get some money from our sponsor, Meter.
They're here to help you build out enterprise-level networks from scratch. Book a demo and start scaling your network now at meter.com/LTC.
I really didn't want to kill our accounting department preparing this. So before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the data that they've prepared does contain some rounding and some footnotes. So take it for what it is. It's a big picture look at expenses for the last couple of years with windows of insight into the smaller details. With that out of the way, let's begin. Across 2024 and 2025, our largest expenses, combining for 50% of our total, were inventory purchases and people. Now, when I say inventory, that doesn't include cameras and editing workstations and that. I'm talking about the 4% we spend on apparel, the 8% we spend on backpacks and other gear items, and the 14% we spend on screwdrivers and other items to stock in our warehouses and ship around the world. It's kind of wild to think about, right? A quarter of our expenses are buying inventory for LTTstore.com. Now, in theory, these are sound investments that should generate profit for us, so, no big deal, right? But that's not guaranteed. We've had our share of debts over the years, and even for successful products, managing cash flow for a growing business can be extremely challenging. If you buy too little, your store will sit empty. You buy too much, and you might be short on money for payroll. The big load-in that we had for Black Friday this year required careful coordination between Creative Warehouse and our accounting department. By the way, thank you for being part of it, and don't forget to leave a review for your purchase. We do read them, and we care a lot about your feedback. The next biggest expense for LG is people, but we'll come back to them later because I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. So first, let's talk about product fulfillment. Why don't you guys have a European distribution center, you might ask? Well, because the distribution centers that we have now are already 10% of our total company expenses. Guys, storage ain't free, and the people who pick your orders, they're not free either. Trust me, I hate giving couriers this 8% exactly as much as you do. When the time is right for us to have distribution in regions like Europe and Australia, we will do it. But for now, we're just going to have to keep exploring other ways to reduce our shipping costs and improve our delivery processes for our customers. Another thing I had room to reduce, but can't, is selling costs at 3%. This includes the fees that we pay for our Shopify store, as well as the pound of flesh that we sacrifice to payment processors like PayPal. Let's see what's next. Yes, overhead. That's an expense. Yeah, okay, it's a pretty broad term, but there are a lot of things that need to fit under this umbrella. Our overhead category includes bank fees, insurance, as well as company events like sports nights, quarterly department activities, summer of fun, which is where employees get credits for group activities like meals, golf, arts and crafts, etc. And of course, our epic annual Christmas party. It also includes postage, mileage reimbursements, office supplies, janitorial services, security, building maintenance, marketing, and treasury donations. Utilities are also in here at about 0.3%. And then there's R&D, which I assume includes some of the wacky equipment that the CW team buys to build new products. Travel comes in at about 0.5%, and production purchases weigh in at around 1%. So that's the cameras, lenses, lights, SD cards, and that sort of thing. I actually remember making a comment years ago about how cameras are not expensive, people are expensive. People lost freaking minds about how out of touch I am. This is the context, folks. Yeah, cameras stick a little, but like, software is substantially higher at 1.5% of our yearly outlet. The biggest ones are SolidWorks for CAD, Gorgeous for managing customer care tickets, and Adobe for Adobe. Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams, and ShipStation make up kind of the next and then there's no company items. The last two big ticket overhead items, 1.5% and 2% of our annual revenue respectively, are foreign exchange and other, which I assume is just irresolute, as well as rent. Rent. Don't you guys own your buildings? We do. To give ourselves peace of mind and location security for the future, we've spent a considerable amount of money over the years owning and upgrading all of those places. Some of these acquisitions have actually ended up being pretty solid investments, which is nice, but others haven't, which is all besides the point right now. The point is that Yvonne puts our offices into their own companies that, for tax purposes, have to be paid to cover their own expenses, like interest on the loans that we took out for those buildings. It does mean more paperwork, but apparently there are also liability advantages to doing it this way. I don't pretend to say anything. Alright, that's over there. Now for our fun one, capital expenditures. Okay, it doesn't sound fun, but these are best described as large outlays of money that don't comfortably fit into any other category, including the lab technician chamber, a fire truck, some upgrades to our session workshop, a 3-stage Cascade CPU cooler, a 2020 Toyota Corolla for the Comet AI self-driving video, and the Yes Tech LED video wall that I bought on Craigslist. What's interesting though is that while these high-profile things are talked about a lot and have big dollar values in the thumbnails, they actually make up less than 1% of our total expenses. The same cannot be said about people. With a headcount of 120 now across our various teams, it shouldn't be a big surprise that other than the inventory we stock, payroll is our largest expense by a significant margin at about 0.5%. Breaking this down from there was a little tricky. See, many members of our team are cross-functional. That's the and then the next segment, carry on explaining t-shirt materials to our floor plans providers. But the way that our payroll budget is generally broken out is according to the areas where people make their primary contributions. With that in mind, the largest department is called internal shared services. With multiple companies, we could have separate HR, accounting, events, infrastructure, logistics, and operations departments for each company. But that would be horribly inefficient, so instead, we share all of those departments. The biggest one is operations, at a little over 11% of our payroll for 2025. That's so large because it happens to include multiple top executives, and it also serves as a bit of a catch-all for things like events, community management, and HR. The other half is made up of accounting, IT infrastructure, and logistics. These are the folks who get our expense reports paid on time, keep our storage servers working, and to keep our shared office spaces equipped with peripherals. All three of these departments are absolute heroes, and we thank you for your service. Next up is developers. The point is, we have a ton of developers now, handling everything from floatplane.com to LTTstore.com to LTTlabs.com to internal tools and weird experiments. Hey, remember the time our dev team built a VPN product in a weekend and then we got cold feet around the legal and ethical concerns? These guys, absolute heroes too. It is worth noting that this one is a little funkier because Luke is in here and he is not a developer. He manages developers, but then he also manages the lab's testing team, and he appears on camera, and is just, generally a chat, so as you'd expect, he knows some numbers a little bit. The next several departments each land in the 10 to 15% range, starting with writing. These are probably the folks that you know the best. We call them writers, but kind of YouTube industry lingo for a bit of writing, a bit of production planning, a bit of hosting, a bit of okay. And then next up is production, another department of unsung heroes. So with that said, I actually kind of love it when they sing a little. Whether that's our camera operators jumping in to ask the question that everyone's thinking, or our editors adding their customary 15 pieces of flair to our video that you guys can pause and appreciate. Product design, which includes graphic design, fashion, and engineering, has become a major thing for us over the last couple of years. These are the folks that bring the many products you enjoy on LTTstore.com to life, obsessing over every detail, from the sound of the ratchet to the hand feel of the design we printed on one of our high-quality phones. In some cases, this team also gets tasked with taking our product ideas behind the market. I love the video, by the way, and it's totally worth a watch to get some insight into how these things work. Finally, there's operations staff and management specifically for LTTstore.com. These are more unsung heroes, working on everything from customer care to compliance to supply chain management and marketing. These are the folks who helped us weather some major storms this year by rolling out a US-based warehouse in a matter of months after a certain person enacted a bunch of import taxes on Americans. And then they also had to manage the fallout around Rubenfast and Brakenstein. Our two smallest groups in 2025, at under 10% each, are the Labs team, who handles products testing and is quietly working in the background to scale up our processes while also making growing contributions directly to the content, as well as our partnerships team, which includes Disneyland, who handles brand partnerships and brought you mega bangers this year, ranging from a ultimate tech upgrade to an incredible tour that we did Gyoxia's Fab in Japan, along with our amazing procurement team who I think can buy anything. I mean, they barely even raised an eyebrow when I asked for a fire truck. So, that's it. That's who gets paid. But how are they paid? Well, while we don't always get things perfect, what I can confidently say is that LNG delivers on our goal of median salaries that are well above what's typical for our region. In 2024, including only employees who were active for the full year. In 2024, including only employees who were actually active for the full year, we landed at around $72,500 Canadian dollars. And that was higher than even the average income in our area at that time. Then in 2025, we increased our median salary to just over $80,000 Canadian dollars. This 90% change was made in spite of actually flat revenues across those years to hire and retain key talent, as well as to better support our valued team members through the current cost of living crisis. It was also partly driven by the internal minimum wage guidelines that we have for entry-level positions. It is separate from the legal wage and instead is tethered to the published Greater Vancouver Living Wage, which is designed as the hourly rate that a full-time worker must earn in order to cover essential expenses, avoid chronic financial stress, and to participate in their community. Furthermore, it is worth noting that unlike many gig-based productions, we hire the vast majority of our local team members as full-time employees, which here in BC affords them protections and benefits that are not the norm for contractors, and for that matter, not the norm for anyone in many other parts of the world. We also offer a benefits package that includes retirement savings matching, continuing education, health and dental, and budgets for extras like counseling and physiotherapy. Also, now that more members of our team are having kids, we recently added partial coverage for orthodontics. I know that there will be many LNG team members, both current and former, watching this video, and I'm sure this talk of company compensation is going to raise some questions for some of you. But what I hope is that this degree of transparency will answer at least some of them. And if you still have concerns or you're looking for ways to improve your pay, it might be time for a conversation about either performance or a role change. We post all open positions on minusmediagroup.com, and you can always speak with the manager or with HR about how to boost your growth. We're working on a system, by the way, for quantifying some of the previously intangible qualities that have led to people with similar job titles making different amounts, and we're hoping to roll that out. Moving on to average salaries. Naturally, these end up higher than median salaries, since you're going to have outliers like top executives that skew data. But they don't skew things as much as you might think. In the last year, we have focused on improving compensation for our individual contributors and have made only small adjustments to leadership. This is reflective of a recent period of flat revenue growth and hopefully is a trend that we can work to improve for 2026. Average salaries across our companies then were 114,000 Canadian and 115,000 Canadian for 2024 and 2025 respectively. Another key metric that people look at to determine fairness is the relative compensation of executives and individual contributors. And I'm going to do my best to give you guys some insight here, but calculating this ratio is a little bit complicated for us. See, Yvonne and I have each paid ourselves $121,000 a year for years. Why that number? I have no idea. But as the also shareholders of the company, it's obviously not our entire take home. So then we could remove ourselves as weird outliers, but then we'd be sharing an average of like 4 people, which is basically just outing their salaries. So what I've opted to do instead is to just semi-out one person, Terry. Our CEO to median pay ratio is somewhere in the range of 5 to 1 and 10 to 1. Okay, that's a pretty big range, but for the purposes of this fireside chat, I don't think that really matters. The point is that it's reasonable. Even by 1970 standards, before executive compensation went cray-cray at the expense of the worker, that kind of a ratio was commonplace. Now, it is worth noting that Karen's been on the job for a few years now, and there are plans to tune this comp package in the near future if we execute well on our plans for 2026, but I can only tell you guys what is, not what maybe will be. Which brings us to the 5'1" elephant in the room. This guy. At this point, I'm addressing our team as much as the audience, so I'll be direct. In 2025, our tax installments were just shy of 8% of our total expenses, and the last 15 or so percent is our net profit. Is it a lot of money? Yes. But from an objective standpoint, it's not outside of the reasonable range if you consider the whole picture. And if anything, my intention is to find new revenue opportunities or efficiencies that will push that into the 20% range. Why? Well, because that bucket isn't just fun money for Linus and his family. For starters, it includes setting aside any capital that Yvonne and I, with contribution from our executive team, might put aside to invest in new projects, such as the upcoming series, buying and renovating a tech house, as well as another yet to be disclosed big content-related acquisition for 2026. It also includes maintaining our operating cash flow, as well as our rainy day fund, which, memes about my financial irresponsibility aside, Yvonne and I have been extremely careful with our resources over the last decade plus. We've weathered multiple major storms that have had serious business impacts with zero layoffs, and that includes both COVID as well as the 2023 controversy. Now, it is worth noting that layoff has a very specific definition. It means a reduction in force due to like a restructuring or like a shortage of available work, which might happen someday, but it hasn't yet. And if anyone tells you that they were laid off here, they either don't know or fully understand what happened, or they are not telling you the whole story. The last thing that our careful financial planning has enabled us to do is never bring in outside investors, which can be okay, but it can also carry the risk of inscriptifying our jobs and our family. Finally, yes, this pool does include paying dividends to our shareholders. It's me and Yvonne. And this is where the lines get really blurry. For one thing, if I were to issue a dividend to myself, for example, I can't just give myself money from that bucket. I'm going to have to pay personal income tax on top of the corporate income tax that I already paid. So that slice of the pie is not actually as big as it looks. Outing their salaries. So what I've opted to do instead is to just outing their salaries. So what I've opted to do in LMG makes money. The vast majority of our revenue comes directly from our audience through sales of our products or from watching our content, either on YouTube or over on Fullplane, where our incredible flow codes subscribe for extra content, early access, and perks. The rest of it comes indirectly from our audience in the form of sponsorships and affiliate links. And that's why when we make a decision, you are our guide. We are laser focused on serving our audience with the products we develop and the content we create. Which is why it's time, finally, to have the package, the money. How does Linus Media Group spend